often wonder, have the lives we lost truly disappeared? The frog of the forest, the lion of the sea, the goat of the mountain. In the trees of the rainforest, a single frog sang the world's last song.
The forest appeared as one, but every tree kept a small distance, a delicate gap just wide enough for silence. Every year, thousands of millimeters of rain fell, and mosses, ferns, and epiphytic orchids bloomed above the ground. The Rabs' fringe-limbed tree frog lived quietly in that still space, inside the rainwater-filled hollows of trees. They were different, larger than most frogs. Males measured around 6 to 9 centimeters. Females grew slightly more, up to 10. Their eyes were deep reddish-brown, the kind of gaze that seemed frozen in time, staring into the forest's heart. At their fingertips were broad, flat pads, allowing them to grip the trees with grace and strength. Their hind legs were long and slender, their feet massive. When stretched forward, the tips of their toes reached beyond their eyes. Because of this design, they could glide. From tree to tree, they soared through the canopy, spreading their vast webbed limbs, descending from the high branches to the forest floor, carrying life with them. The males fought. When others approached, they answered with calls. They gave their bodies for their young. The skin of the father was the tadpole's first meal. No other frog in the world did this. Only Rabs' fringe-limbed tree frogs. Patient fathers, living food. Their bodies carried the last hopes of their kind. In 2005, scientists entered the forest, trying to save a species vanishing one by one. Not from hunting or deforestation, but from a fungus. Batrachochytrium dendrobatitis. It swept across the globe, erasing over 500 species of amphibians. Amid this emergency rescue effort, one adult male frog was captured. His name was Tuffy.
He is just really cool. No other frog I have seen is quite like him. He is muscular and has giant webbed feet and big eyes. He's a very handsome frog.
He was taken to the United States with a few remaining individuals of his species and placed in a sealed isolation unit called the Frog Pod at the Atlanta Botanical Garden. Tuffy once had a mate. They produced tadpoles, but none survived. After the female died, Tuffy became the last of his kind. There would be no more offspring, no more rebirth. Because he was captured as an adult, we never knew his exact age. But by the time he left us, we believe he was at least 12 years old.
This frog represents a species that, in the span of the last 5 years, has both been discovered and reached the brink of extinction.
A whole species disappeared, in silence. Science tried to save them, but it was too late. Silence always comes quietly, and the most beautiful sounds are the ones we only hear after they're gone.
Once, on the rocky islets of the East Sea, thousands of sea lions basked under the sun. But greed silenced even the wind's song. Now their cry returns to us as the ocean's silence. On the pier of San Francisco, California, in the gentle breeze and bright sunshine of the Pacific Ocean, we encounter the lively and noisy residents of the sea. They are the California sea lions. Piled upon the wooden docks, they yawn, play with one another, and bask in leisure. The chorus of their boisterous barks, mingling with the laughter of tourists, creates a picture of peace and everyday life. From the pier of San Francisco, crossing the deep blue Pacific, we arrive at the other side of the ocean. There lies Dokdo, Ulan County, Republic of Korea, another rocky island connected by the vast waterways of the Pacific. 100 years ago, here on Dokdo, thousands of sea lions thrived. Genetically, over 90% similar to the California sea lion, but far larger and more imposing, they were the Dokdo sea lions. Local residents called them Gaji, Gaji, or Gangchi, names spoken with familiarity, born of people who lived side by side with the sea. In the 18th century, during the reign of King Yongjo, a remarkable description appeared in the Dongguk Munhun Bigo. A great beast dwells in the sea, its form like that of a cow. Its eyes are red, its tail is none. They lie in herds along the shore. When a lone traveler approaches, they may harm him, but before a crowd, they flee into the water. These are called gaji. June was the season of the Dokdo sea lion. On rocky shores and open beaches, females gave birth to their pups. The newborns opened their eyes against their mother's warmth and soon touched the sea, breathing their first with the waves. Fed on their mother's milk for weeks, the pups grew stronger, learning the rhythm of the surf and cautiously entering the waters to find their place. Dokdo in June was no mere island. It was a grand stage where the cycle of life and the struggle for survival played out in all its ferocity and beauty. But the hunger of empires shattered this spectacle. In 1905, Japan's Takeshima Fishery Company began hunting Dokdo sea lions. Males, females, and pups alike. For leather, oil, and ornaments, they were slaughtered without mercy. In only 8 years, over 14,000 were taken. From the early 20th century, relentless slaughter swept their numbers away. The multitudes that once blanketed the rocks faded like shadows. In 1974, a final sighting in Hokkaido, Japan, became the last record of their kind. The Dokdo sea lion was gone, erased forever from the earth. In California, sea lions still thrive, living amid human laughter and applause. But in Korea's waters, their kin, the Dokdo sea lion, has vanished forever. Its cry is now only an echo in memory. The sea flows on in quiet, but within its silence lies the eternal question of lost life. High on the cliffs of the Pyrenees, a life came to an end. Its name was the ibex, the master of the mountains, a creature that faced extinction twice, and the wind still remembers the trace they left behind.
January 6th, 2000, the Pyrenees Mountains of Spain. As the final breath of a creature ceased, humanity witnessed the complete extinction of a species. This was the Pyrenean ibex, scientifically known as Capra pyrenaica pyrenaica. Once roaming throughout the Pyrenees, this wild goat was a true master of mountain terrain. They could climb near vertical cliffs effortlessly and leap up to 2 meters high from the smallest foothold. They were herbivores, feeding on grasses, herbs, and shrubs. Because of the low nutritional value of their plant-based diet, they spent most of the day foraging. In spring, they migrated to higher elevations to mate, and females lived in herds. In the early 19th century, tens of thousands inhabited these mountains. But human greed began to alter their fate. Indiscriminate hunting began. Their horns became trophies, their meat food, their bones medicine. They were hunted to depletion. Their habitat of cliffs interspersed with trees and pine forests steadily shrank. To make matters worse, diseases from livestock spread to them, and competition for food intensified. 1900, fewer than 100. 1950, mere dozens. Conservation efforts came too late and were far too weak. In 1989, scientists confirmed only 10 individuals in Ordesa National Park. As the 1990s passed, only one remained. Her name was Celia. For a social animal like the ibex, solitude went against their very nature. Scientists tracked her, searching for any chance of breeding, but no mate could be found. Celia still migrated with the seasons and spent most of her days grazing alone. Her fellow climbers, once so skilled and nimble, had all vanished. The research team could only watch, helpless. On January 6, 2000, Celia was crushed by a fallen tree and died. She was 14 years old. But the story didn't end there. Scientists preserved Celia's cells and in 2003 achieved the world's first successful cloning of an extinct animal. The kid was born. It seemed it might climb the cliffs once more. For a brief moment, the Pyrenean ibex returned to Earth, but 7 minutes later, it died from lung defects. Its remarkable leaping ability, its incredible climbing skills, it never had the chance to use them. The Pyrenean ibex became the only species to go extinct twice. The extinction of a species is not simply the death of one animal. It is abilities perfected over millions of years of evolution, an ecological role, a keeper of mountain ecosystem balance, vanishing forever. Those remarkable climbers will never scale the Pyrenean cliffs again. What will we learn from this?
We cannot bring them back, but we can still listen to their stories. Perhaps that is why we are still standing on this earth today.